Today, we are pulling back the curtain on language itself. We're going to explore the hidden architecture, that invisible blueprint that makes some writing so powerful, so persuasive. You know, the kind you just can't forget.
Have you ever wondered about that? Really thought about it? Why can one speech spark a movement while 1,000 others just fade away? Well, I'll tell you, it's not magic, and it is definitely not an accident. It's all about structure.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the raw power of words. Then, we'll get into the actual blueprint for making things crystal clear. After that, we'll have some fun adding style and flair. And finally, we're going to tune into the secret music that's hidden in the words themselves. Okay, let's dive right in. We have to start at the very beginning, and that means understanding the power that words have always had through the ancient art of rhetoric. Now, when you hear the word rhetoric, you might picture old Greek guys in togas, right? But it's so much more than that. At its heart, rhetoric is just the art of using language well. I'm talking about everything from a quick email to your boss to an epic novel. If you're trying to communicate an idea, you're using rhetoric. It's the engine that makes any message work. So, if rhetoric is the art, what's the science? Well, that's what we're talking about next. This is the blueprint for clarity, the fundamental architecture that all great writing is built on. And this is the really cool part. Great writing is never an accident. It's built on these three core principles. And what's wild is that they apply at every level. We're talking from a whole book, down to a single chapter, right down to one little paragraph. Once you see this pattern, you'll start seeing it absolutely everywhere. So what is this system? It's really just three simple steps. First up, unity. Is everything you're writing serving one main idea? You gotta stick to the point, no wandering off. Second, coherence. Do your ideas flow naturally? Is there a logical path for your reader to follow? And third, emphasis. Are you putting your most important ideas where they'll have the biggest impact? And that's almost always at the beginning and at the end. Get these three right, and your writing will have this incredibly solid, unbreakable foundation. All right, once that solid foundation is in place, we can start to build on it. This is where we make our writing not just clear, but actually memorable. It's time to add some style and flair.
And this is where we really get to play, because figures of speech, they aren't just fancy decorations you sprinkle on top. No, they are serious tools. They're a deliberate detour from boring literal language, and they're designed to make a much stronger impression on a reader's mind and on their heart.
Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have a totally clear, literal statement. He is a brave man. Okay, we get it. But on the other side, he has the heart of a lion. See? That doesn't just state a fact, it paints a picture. It gives you this powerful image of courage, of strength, of nobility. It's just so much more vivid and way more memorable.
And this is really just the tip of the iceberg in the writer's toolbox. You've got similes where you compare things using like or as. A metaphor goes a step further, saying one thing is another, like our lion's heart. Hyperbole is when you go over the top with exaggeration for effect. And then there's irony, that clever twist where you say the opposite of what you really mean. Each of these tools creates a totally different feeling. You know, this quote just nails it. Style is the man himself. Style isn't something you just put on like a coat. It's more like your skin. It's a genuine expression of your mind, your personality, your unique way of seeing the world. It's what makes your voice your own. So we've talked about structure and we've talked about style. But now we're going to go even deeper, to a layer of language that we all feel, but very few of us actually know how to name. Let's talk about the secret rhythm. Think about it. Those phrases that just get stuck in your head, from song lyrics to famous quotes, they almost always have a kind of musical quality to them, don't they? Well, that rhythm is no accident. It's created by a very specific pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables, and that pattern has a name. It's called meter. So just like a piece of music has measures, language has something called a metrical foot. It's just the basic repeating block of rhythm. You string a few of these feet together and boom, you've got meter. So, how in the world do you find this hidden rhythm? Well, there's a technique for it, and it's called scansion. Now, it sounds super technical, I know, but it's really just about listening closely, about feeling the natural pulse in a sentence. Let's actually try this together. Just say this line out loud. I'm learning how to scan a line. Can you hear that? That pulse? Duh, dum, duh, dum, duh, dum, duh, dum. The stress just naturally falls on certain syllables. I'm learning how to scan a line.
The poet Annie Finch breaks this down into a really simple 3-step method. First, you just find and mark the stressed syllables, the ones that are a little longer and louder. Step 2, you mark everything else as unstressed. And then for step 3, you just look for the pattern that's repeating and you draw a little line to separate each one of those rhythmic units or feet.
And there you have it. That's the result. Our sentence breaks down into 4 identical chunks. Each one is an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed one, duh-dum. That specific duh-dum pattern is called an iamb. And believe it or not, it's one of the most common and naturally pleasing rhythms in the entire English language.
And that is why all of this matters. This hidden rhythm is what gives powerful writing that forward momentum, that stickiness. It works on us on an almost subconscious level, making the words sound better to our ear and making them way easier for our brain to hold on to.
So, let's bring it all home. We started with the foundation, right? Those solid principles of unity, coherence, and emphasis. Then, we built on top of that with style, using figurative language to make our words pop. And finally, crowning it all, is rhythm, that secret meter that gives language its music. When you understand this whole structure, you become a much more conscious and honestly, a much more powerful communicator.
The crazy thing is, these structures have been there the whole time, hiding in plain sight. But now, you can see the blueprint, you can hear the rhythm, you hold the key. So the only question left is, what kind of music are your words going to